In our media availability today with Chase Elliott, driver of the number 9 Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet. If you have a question, raise your hand. Randy will bring you a mic. Please state name and affiliation before you ask your question. Sorry, Jeff.
I'm just wondering, like, it was kind of hard to tell, I guess, a little bit in practice what everybody's trying to accomplish, because it seemed like maybe people were drafting together a lot more. So is that sort of like, has the point of practice changed now, where people are just ready to go out and see how their car handles in traffic right away?
Well, I mean, I think it was an important piece of today, because that's, the reality of what you're going to see in the race, and I think it's going to be hard to get away from people for at least a while. I don't think it's going to be like some of these other races that we've had this year. It seems like the grip level of this track, racing at night too, I think is another thing, and it being cool is probably going to accomplish, I think, what they were trying to accomplish, or maybe not completely accomplish it, but push it more in that direction than what we've seen at some of the other intermediates that we've tried to plate race at. So I think that was why you saw everybody together more today, because I think you're gonna probably be around each other a little more than what we've seen.
Questions for Chase? Nick?
Nick Brownberg, Yahoo Sports. Now that we're basically a third of the way through the season, what's the biggest takeaway you've had so far this season?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of takeaways. I mean, the biggest takeaway for us is just having a victory this early, which is nice. Aside from that, we've had some mediocre runs. We've had a couple races where I felt like we had an opportunity to win, and some races where we didn't have a fighting chance to win. So, having a victory is nice, and that's our biggest takeaway right now. Just to continue to be dynamic, because everything is just changing and evolving, and every time something changes, it takes a lot of effort to figure out what's the best thing for that change, and that when something does change, it offers opportunity to either catch up or get behind. So just making sure you're able to make changes and do them quick, because this deal is, the rules have changed rapidly.
Brett Williams, SpeedwayDigest.com. I guess my question was kind of similar to that. Just how's the Hendrick Motorsports as a whole feeling going into a first 1.5 mile track since Texas, with the improvements over the last couple of races or so?
Yeah, I think it's better for sure. I still think we have room to improve and do a better job yet, but definitely the performances over the past couple weeks have been nice, and I think that helps. So we'll see. So you get your report card every week, so we'll find out.
We'll go to Lee, then Jerry.
Lee Spencer, RacingBoys.com. A couple of questions. Jeff Andrews was encouraged, I guess, by what he saw at Texas and expects even further improvements here. What are your early observations on Kansas?
I think honestly kind of hard to say because of the groups in which we were out there driving around, and it just wasn't exactly like the race, because you'd have guys getting up to speed, which would kind of jumble up the packs and stuff. So honestly, until we race, I really don't know. So we'll see.
And are you encouraged by seeing Alex Bowman, another one of your teammates, showing some success? Kind of shows that there could be potential across the boards, just not just with the number 9 team.
Yeah, no, as a company, that's good, right? You want to, if we're all running better, we're all increasing the health of Hendrick Motorsports, which is, at the end of the day, I'd say a good thing, and we're also pushing each other to do a better job. So yeah, I think it's good.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net. I want to look forward to next week in the All-Star race. Your thoughts going into that, your strategies, breaking that competition down.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't even know what the rules are next week, so I couldn't tell you. But I think it'll be exciting to be in the race for the first time, be locked in, and whatever package it is next week, it'll be great, and look forward to being a part of the big show for sure.
You guys
I've lost track. So, yeah, we'll just roll with it. And like I said, you know, whatever it is, and I'm going to push as hard as I can with whatever the rules are. So I look forward to it.
Go to Claire.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Your fans seem to be really enjoying the fact that you're enjoying it a little more, that you're kind of, you know, when you have success, you seem to be enjoying it more and having it be okay that people are going nuts over you when you win and that sort of thing. Are you more comfortable with that now?
I mean, I don't really feel like I've changed a whole lot from that perspective. I think it's always nice to do good, you know, or get a victory or whatever that makes, you know, running well or getting a win, however that comes about is, you know, is probably a good thing. So, yeah, I don't really feel like I've changed a whole lot. I've always tried to enjoy it. So, yeah, I don't know. Good question.
Scott Trailer, RacingBoys.com. With the 550 package, how long can you run flat out? And can you run flat out? And if so, how difficult is that going to be to set somebody up getting up off the corner for the next corner?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be tough. You can run wide open for a long time, and when you're by yourself, you really should be able to run wide open the whole time. And if you do lift, it's very little. Seems like when you do lift, it's you know, because a guy, you know, you ended up picking the same lane as him or something like that. So I think it's just going to be about going where the guy in front of you isn't, to get out of his wake. But you know, as crazy as it is with 550 horsepower, we're still going, the corner speeds still feel pretty high. So I think it'll be, I think you're kind of asking a question on how the draft is going to play and whatnot. I still think it's going to be about getting runs and you know, using that draft to your advantage, but it's just going to be about the clean air. It's not going to be like a Talladega or Daytona look to it for sure. It's still going to have to be where the guy in front of you isn't, to where you have your car, you know, in fresh air, which is always important at these places. And yeah, like I said, the corner speeds are still pretty high, so we're still not going slow enough to create that kind of racing and be just comfortable all the time and pushing and shoving and things like that all the time, I don't think.
Go to Reed.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire. You've had the last 4 wins for Chevy. Do you feel like you're sort of carrying the load for the bow ties?
I mean, you know, nice to have wins. Obviously, I think as a manufacturer, I think the more that we all run better, we're all going to help each other. Much like you know, Alex's, you know, good runs the past couple weeks, I think are good, you know, good for the company as well. Just like I think, you know, Chevrolet having good runs is good for the manufacturer. So I don't necessarily think we're carrying it. Any of the Chevrolets could have won Talladega, and that wouldn't even be a relevant question. So, you know, it's nice to have won some races, but no, I think that narrative could have changed, you know, pretty easily a couple weeks ago to somebody else.
Dylan Sherwood with the Emporia Gazette. Chase, what's different coming back after you won here in the fall?
I mean, lots different. You know, obviously the rules and the you know, it being a nighttime race versus an afternoon race here in the fall. You know, it's pretty cool this weekend. So I think that's gonna, obviously the race is gonna look, I think, different from what we saw here then. So I'm excited to see what it is. It's definitely been a different practice session than what we've seen at these other places where we've been, you know, big spoiler and the high drag and stuff.
Anything else for Chase? Bob?
On the spot. Quick question.
Bob Hawkers, Fox Sports. You don't have to worry about the fan vote this year as far as the
You missed
All-Star
it.
race?
We just talked about this.
Oh, did we?
No, I'm just messing with you. We kind of did, but it did. I just said I was excited to be in the race, you know, for the first time, which is really nice, not have to worry about it.
Well, I'm curious, do you care who wins? Are you rooting for somebody? Who do you
In
give
the
any
fan
prediction?
vote?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I'll be honest with you, I need to look and see who's even in it. I mean, my teammates are in it, you know, but, you know, I don't know. I'd have to look. So you might pick an underdog, you know, aside from your teammates are the obvious one, right? You'd be politically correct. I could pick one of them or both of them or want everybody to do good, but might be somebody cool you'd like to see win it, you know, over just the politically correct answer.
Lee Spencer again. You were so great out front last week at Dover. A lot of guys said it was tough passing, but it seems like if you can come from the back of the field, but once you get up to like the top 15 guys, the cars are all the same, the talent's pretty similar. You know, how are you going to distinguish yourself and be the guy that can make that move short of doing it on a restart?
Yeah, it's going to be, it's going to be tough. I think you're going to have to be smart with everything, and that's where, pit road and the sequence of pit stops and when you pit and how you get on and off pit road. I mean, those are the details that I think are even more important now. But I mean, it was tough last weekend for sure, especially there at the end. It was very difficult to make something happen. So it just puts more emphasis on those situations, like you say, restarts and pit road and pit stops, and not just how fast your pit stop is, but how fast you get down pit road and how fast you get inside your box and get stopped and let you guys go to work and how close you are to your mark. All those things are just that more important, and that's why you see the guys that are really good at that stuff typically towards the front, because they're gaining spots at times where people tend to forget about.
Jeff?
So like when stuff like that happens, do you feel like you have a voice with NASCAR where you want to point that stuff out to them? Obviously, some other drivers were like kind of high profile about it this week. Or are you just like, hey, you know what, I'll race whatever. You'll wait till later in your career to sort of make those kind of opinions known. How do you approach that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I mean, I think there's certainly a right way to maybe bring it up. Frankly, I've tried to voice my opinion at different times, or in those meetings that we're supposed to voice our opinions in. And at the end of the day, I've kind of come to the realization, and maybe this will change as time goes, but I just don't think that my opinion really matters to the people who make the rules. And really and truly, I'm not sure that it should, right? I mean, why do the owners and the drivers and the teams even have a voice, in some of that stuff, really, when it comes down to it? Just make the rules and be done with it. Quit trying to make everybody happy. We're racing. You either like it or you don't.
Anything else? Cool. Chase, we appreciate the time.
All right, thanks.